I hope that you are well and also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 7 English lesson on guide words or on reference skills, sorry. And before we start our lesson on reference skills, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 7, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of reference skills. All right, so our chapter is reference skills. Our subject is English language arts, grade 7. And the lessons that we're going to be focusing on today under the chapter of reference skills it is to use guide words, use thesaurus entry, and also to use dictionary entries. All right. So when it comes to our reference skills, right? Then we can basically use a dictionary. We can use a thesaurus, right? And then we will basically have words that will basically guide us. Right? So that is why I'm saying a chapter, which is reference skills, right? We start with our guide words, right? And guide words, they appear on each page of a dictionary. All right. So basically, when it comes to both thesaurus as well as a dictionary entry, right? And then we basically have guide words. The guide words are there in order to give us an indication of the first word that is on that page as well as the last word that is on that page. And that is for both dictionary as well as thesaurus. And all the other words that is in between that first word as well as the last word on that specific page, right? It is alphabetical order. So guide words, they basically appear on each page of a dictionary, and they tell you the first word as well as the last word on that page. And we see that all the other words, right, that is in between the guide words, right, those words are in alphabetical order. But guide words appear on each page of a dictionary, and they tell you the first word as well as the last word on that page. And other words on that page that come between the guide words is in alphabetical order. All right. So we made mention of guide words, right, that appear on each of a dictionary, right? Each page of a dictionary. It is basically the first word as well as the last word on that specific page of a dictionary. And all the other words that comes in between that, it's in alphabetical order. And to put words in alphabetical order, you need to put them in order by the first letters. All right. So basically, to put words in alphabetical order, then it means that we need to put them in order by the first letter, right? So if your first letter starts, for example, with an A, then it means that that word is going to be first, right? Because we are putting it in alphabetical order. And if the first letter are the same, then we look at the second letter. So if we have two words and both of the words starts with an A, right? Then we look at the second letter. If both of the words, if both of the second letters are the same, then we look at the third letter. Then whichever letter chose that shows the alphabetical letter first, that is the letter that we will use first. Well, that's the word that we would use first. And I assume that so far we have used dictionaries, right? And whenever we use a dictionary, right, we will see that on the first, like on, if we specifically look at a page, then on each page we have guide words. And then basically the first word as well as the last word will specifically show on the page, and all the other words is alphabetical order. All right. So basically, to put words in alphabetical order, we need to put them in order of their first letter. And if the first letter are the same, we look at the second, and the second are the same, we look at the third, and so on and so on. If a letter is shorter, right? If a letter is shorter, and here we are looking at an example of B and bed, right? B and bed. We say that if the first letters are the same, right? We look at the second letter, but now the second letters are also the same. Then we look at either the third letter, right? But in this case, B is two letters, right? So they're saying that if one word is shorter, like B is shorter than bed. So if one word is shorter, then there is no more letters to compare. Then all you do is you then take the shorter word that comes first in the alphabetical order. All right. So we've been talking about guide words and we've been talking about dictionary entries, right? Now, if we look at the thesaurus, right? A thesaurus lists synonyms. So you have the two differences between a dictionary as well as a thesaurus, right? Within a dictionary, we basically have words and its different meanings. And then we have a thesaurus, right? And we see that a thesaurus literally lists synonyms, words with the same meaning or similar meaning, right? So within a thesaurus, right, we have synonyms. So we will specifically have the word. They will tell us what part of speech it is. We will get the definition of the word, and they will also give us different synonyms of the word, words with similar meaning or words with almost the same meaning. So that is basically what we will find within a thesaurus. All right. And when it comes to a thesaurus, right, we see that the thesaurus lists synonyms. And synonyms are words with the same meaning or almost the same meaning. All right. So if we look at an example, right, of a thesaurus entry, if we look at an example of a thesaurus entry, here we have a word, right? Or we have the word, right? This is a thesaurus entry. So this is the word that we have that we need to basically look up. Then it will either tell us if it is a verb, a noun, an adjective. They will tell us the part of speech. So we have the word in our thesaurus, right? We have the parts of speech. Then we also have the definition. Then we have the definition or the meaning. So we can say either the meaning or we can say the definition, right? And then also we have synonyms. And remember, we said synonyms are words with the same meaning or words with almost the same meaning. And these synonyms, right, within the thesaurus, it can help you to understand it better. All right. We have, like we said, we have our word, our part of speech, whether it is a verb, a noun, an adjective, an adverb, right? Our definition of that specific word. And then we also have our synonyms, right? And we said synonyms are words with the same or almost the same meaning, right? All right, and we are doing our lesson, our tutorial lesson on aplusstudents.ca. So let us go to aplusstudents.ca, and we're going to choose our first lesson, which is to use guide words. All right, so when it comes to guide words, right, we see that with guide words, it appears on each page of a dictionary, right? And they specifically tell us the first word as well as the last word on that specific page. The other words, right, or any other word, they come between the guide words in the alphabetical order. And that is, we are now specifically talking about that one page, right? Let's say the first page or one of the pages in a dictionary where we have guide words. All right. Okay, so we also see that when it comes to guide words, right, we can then put the words in alphabetical order, and we see that we can either first put the first letter of that word. If two or more of those words have the same first letters, we go to the second letters. And if all of them have the same second letters, we either choose the shortest word or we go on, right? Up until we find a word alphabetically. All right. And now we're going to, here it says, would you find the word anyhow on a dictionary page with them guide words? So the words anyhow, do you think that you'll be able to find these words or this word anyhow on the following guide words? The guide word is afford and it is allow. All right. So if we look at the word afford as well as allow, right? So afford is the first word on the page, and then allow is the last word on that page. So we basically need to see if anyhow is in between afford as well as allow. All right. And if we look at that specific word, oopsie, if we look at the word anyhow, remember we said that we first look at the first letter of that word. Let's say, for example, we have afford, which is here. That is the first word. And then we have a that is basically the last word on that page. So we need to find anyhow, right? So the first letter is the same. But now the second letter is with an N, right? And the last word is with an L, which means that anyhow will be after that specific guide words, right? Meaning it will be on the next page. So anyhow comes after allow. It does not come between afford and allow. It comes after allow, which means that we will basically find the word anyhow on the next page with different guide words. All right. If we look at the next word, ocean and opera. Ocean and opera. We need to find the word on. If the word on, right? Let me write it. Here we have ocean, right? That is the first word. Let me put it here. Ocean is the first word. And then our last word is opera. We need to see if the word on is going to fit between ocean as well as opera. So ocean and opera. Ocean is our first word on a specific page, right? And then opera is the last word on that specific page. And we're talking about the guide words. We need to see if the word on is, if it comes in between those two words. On. And remember, we said that the first letter, right, it stays the same. And our second letters, right, are also the same. And then we're going to on to the next one, right? So in this case, on is O and N. All right. So basically we will find ocean somewhere we'll find somewhere over here because N So in comes before O. So it will be ocean, on, and then opera, which means that it will be somewhere between ocean as well as opera. Right? So that is basically a guide word in a dictionary, for example. And then we also have the word glad and we have the word grim. All right. Now let's go to our test, right? Where we are going to use guide words. Would you find the word on? The word on. You find the word on a dictionary page with the following guide words. So we have the guide words ocean and opera. Do you think that we will find that word on the same page as ocean as well as opera? Must either say yes or you must say no. So would you find the word on a dictionary page with the following guide words? Yes or no? All right. So we said that on comes before, or let's say on or in comes before P. So which means that the word on will be on the same page as ocean as well as opera. Right? So it is yes. Would you find the word dungeon on the dictionary page with the following guide words? Dungeon. 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 Our first word is depend, which is DE. And as our last word is discuss or disguise, right? So our first letters are the same. Now we're going on to the second one. Depend is E, disguise is I, dungeon is DU, which means that dungeon comes after disguise, right? So dungeon comes after disguise, not in between disguise. So dungeon will probably be on the next page. So we would say that we find dungeon on the page with the following guide words. It will be no. And no. And which word would you find on the dictionary page with the following guide words? We have yes and we have young. We need to choose the word between yawn and yield. All right. So if we look at the word yes and we look at the word young, yes is Y-E-S, and the last word young is Y-O-U-N-G, right? And we need to now basically say which word will you find on a dictionary page with the following guide words. If we look at the word yawn or yawn, that is Y-A, right? Which means that it won't be yawn because yeah, Y-A comes before yes, which means that we will find yield. We will find yield in between yes and young. All right. Any other saying, which word would you find on the dictionary page with the following guide words? We have college and we have curve. College, which is C-O, and we have curve, which is C-U. Would we find the word circus or would we find the word crown? All right, so we have college and we have curve. So we need to find the word that will fit in between these guide words. Is it circus? C-I, and C-I won't be able to because circus, which is C-I, comes before college, which is C-O. So we will then choose crown because crown is C-R and R comes after O before U. The circus crown. All right. And we said that we're going to choose crown. That will go in between college and curve. All right, so now we're going to use thesaurus entries, right? And we said a thesaurus lists synonyms, which are words with the same meaning or almost the same meaning. And if a word is not familiar, then the synonyms in a thesaurus can help you understand it better. All right. So we see that thesauruses are mainly synonyms that is in there, right? It does have the meaning also, but the focus is mainly on synonyms and similarities, right? And now if we look at the word, here we have an example of how a synonym will look, a thesaurus will look. We will have the word, which is the meaning of the word, or let's say just the word first. Then we'll have the parts of speech, which will tell us if it's an adjective, a verb, or so on. Then we have the definition, and that is a definition that you will need in order to pick up your child. All right. And when you want to, it says, when would you like to host, right, something, right? If we look at the word hoist, hoist, it says it's a verb, it's an action that you're doing. And the definition of hoist is to pick up. All right, so we have the word hoist, right? Hoist is, we, the meaning of hoist is to pick up. And the synonym of hoist, meaning it is the word with similar meaning or almost the same meaning of hoist, is to either elevate, haul, heave, or to raise. All right. And if we look at the word hoist, we said hoist is either to raise, to elevate, and the meaning of hoist is to pick up. All right. So remember with the thesaurus, we have the name of the word, we have the parts of speech, we have the definition, and we have the synonyms. And synonyms are words with the same meanings, or we have words with almost the same meanings. All right, so now let's look at this thesaurus entry, right? We have the word corrosive. So corrosive. It says the part of speech of corrosive is adjective, right? Meaning it tells us more about the noun. And the definition is either destructive or causing damage through a chemical process. All right. So this is basically a thesaurus entry where we have the word, right? We have the parts of speech, the meaning of the word, and we have a long synonym. We have synonyms that basically tells us more about or that about the titles, right? Or the word. So corrosive, if it's destructive, causing damage through chemical process, then what is our answer? Is it to make it explode or to make it down? All right, so the word corrosive, right? It means destructive, causing damage to chemical process, which means that if we maybe choose the word corrosive, right, then we'll say make it explode. Ah, breaking it down. Yeah. So it's actually breaking it down and not making it explode. Let's choose the one word more. Credible, right? Credible is an adjective. The definition of credible is it is able to be believed. Usually when we talk about credible, we talk about sources, we talk about facts, we talk about things that people have researched, things that people are saying, and we need to basically see if it is true. That means credible, comes in play there. And the synonyms of credible is believable, certain, convincing, dependable, reliable. So we need to say which is more likely to be called credible: a promise from a good friend or a car that has never broken down. All right. So that is now the end of our lesson on the different skills. We spoke about dictionary entries. We spoke about thesaurus entries, right? We said with dictionary entries, we have our meaning, right? With a dictionary entry, we have a guide words, and on the first page, at least on the page that you are, searching a word for, on the first page, right on top, we have guide words, right? And then on that same page, the last word is also, for example, that will tell us if the word must come in between that two words, right? So those are guide words. Then we have thesaurus entries, right? Where the thesaurus entries will, for example, give us the name, parts of speech, will give us a definition, and mainly it will give us the synonyms of the words. All right, so that is the end of our lesson on different skills. Thank you very much for joining the class. Hope you have a good evening further. Goodbye.